Hello you guys and welcome to my channel. Welcome to a layout for the scrap room. Today we're going to be playing with the wonderful sketch for this month. And also the Vicki Boutin create or discover and create portion of the flavors of the month kit. So there's the sketch. I really like the grid design. I'm a huge fan of grid design. But I decided to change it up a little bit. So one thing I'm doing different this month, I wanted to try it out. If you want a breakdown of what is all comes in the kit, it's at the end of the video. So you don't have to watch it. You get to watch me create first. And then if you want to watch it, a breakdown of what is in each kit for each video is at the very end after the close-ups. So that way you can just skip it if you don't want to see it and you just want to get to the creating, or if you do want to watch it, that way you can watch it all the way to the end. Just trying something new. I figured that might be kind of fun. Tina Gale also does a very good reveal of all the collections that are in each flavor of the month kit and the double shot kit and all the other add-on kits. So you can always head to the ScrapRoom YouTube channel and check those out, and also always go to the Facebook page. But what I wanted to do with this grid is I wanted to kind of reverse what's happening on the page. Typically you look at this sketch like this and it's like, yep, cardstock or pattern paper and then pattern paper squares on top. My thought was I wanted to raise up the background and kind of invert it. So I am making it so the background is actually the squares, and I have put my cardstock through my silhouette to cut out all my squares. There you go. And you see I've adhesive backed it. Some foam adhesive, some fun foam to pop it up. But I put it through my silhouette just because I wanted them to make sure they were nice and even, and that way I could space them out however I wanted. So then I just grabbed a craft piece of cardstock from my stash, and then after I had it all cut out, I laid that down and kind of traced the squares, cut out the squares of the patterns. I decided to go with mostly the blues in this collection. So a lot of the B-sides of all the papers, which are gorgeous. And I cut out 2.6 by 2.6 squares. I think that's technically what they were. They were like 2 and 5/8 squares. Just slightly bigger because my squares themselves that I did for the white cardstock that comes in the kit, I did those at 2.5 by 2.5 and spaced them out. And then I just stretched the insides and the outsides. And then now I'm inking up with 3 different oxides. I chose Faded Jeans, Salvaged Patina, and I don't remember it. Oh, Broken China. So I'm just kind of alternating where I ink that color up. And I know that those 2 squares on the right middle, they will mostly get covered up. So I didn't cut out full squares for those. I wasn't too worried about that. So I'm inking up the insides of all my squares for my white cardstock. I have distressed some as well. And so what I was saying is that I took the piece that I cut with my silhouette, I laid it over top of the craft card, so I kind of traced, so I knew where those squares are going to get laid down so that they fit nicely in there, so it looks like they're inlaid into the background. Essentially bringing the background to the foreground and the foreground to the background. Kind of inverting it, basically. Just to add a little bit of dimension, a little bit of just change up, but sticking true to the sketch otherwise. So I'm just going to continue inking up and making a mess of all the insides of these squares. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue all my squares down to the background. And then we will adhere the cardstock, the white cardstock cutouts with the cutouts over top of this. And then I chose craft because there are some craft elements a lot in Vicki Boutin collections. And this one does. That one paper had kind of the weaved of different craft patterns. And so I'm going to use that actually as my photo mat. I'm going to change it up a little bit too, and I have 2 vertical photos instead of 2 horizontal. So they will lay a little bit different on than you see in the sketch. But in general, we are going to stay true. And then I will change where one of my clusters is because that photo orientation changed. I didn't I rather have the cluster in the upper right instead of the lower right, and you'll see that here in a minute. So now that I've got all those laid down, we're going to adhere the white cardstock to that background, even though it's not, it is a background now. And it's a little wonky and it sticks before I wanted to, but I was able to fix it mostly. And then I'm going to stress this corner a little bit more because I got on there a little wonky and it was like overhanging funny. Anyway, but yeah, I am, because of that craft element, I'm fine with the craft cardstock kind of peeking out on some of the edges and it not looking perfect. And I really do. I like the way this one turns out. The only thing that stinks about changing the orientation of my photos is really I didn't need that second blue square then from the left on the second row because it mostly gets covered up mostly, but it's all right. So I am going through some of the ephemera and trying to figure out what I will be. Right now I wanted something to go there where the title is on the sketch, but I didn't want just the rectangle, so I fussy cut out one of the paint strokes and the dustier blue color. And once again, in my head, more of it was going to be showing than what ends up being shown, but it still works and it gives the effect that I want, just that there's a swash of color there, not just white or just another pattern, but I wanted something that would stand out a little bit more, that wasn't the same patterns I'd already used. So this is the paper I'm talking about. I'm going to trim my photos down and kind of use the center of that as my mat because I really wanted that craft to be brought in a little bit more since you see peaks of it. So I've got my photos on there and I'm matting them on that pattern paper. And it's just 2 photos of my son and it worked out really good. He's in this very blue jacket at the park playing in some leaves, so a lot of very similar colors than is what is going on in this collection too. But I'm going to take full advantage of the ephemera pieces and the puffy stickers too and just create a title from what I have. I'm gonna adhere down my photos. Oh, I forgot I wanted to distress the edges of it since I've distressed everything else. Might as well distress the edges of this too. And I will add, and then I will start going through all the ephemera and kind of creating all my little clusters. I will do one in the upper left, lower left, and then I'm going to do one in the upper right instead of the lower right like on the sketch. So I'm going to dump out all my ephemera and start picking and playing which needs to go where. So I kind of plan out my layouts, but not to the point of being a perfectionist, which is really funny because I grew up being a perfectionist. But I feel like maybe scrapbooking is my way of like not needing to be perfect and embracing my mistakes. But anywho, so I have this gap. A gap I don't like in my upper right hand corner. That honestly is the main reason my cluster ends up going there instead of down in the lower right. Because I mean, like I said, I kind of planned my layout out, but at the time of cutting all my squares out and the silhouette, I honestly thought I was going to have 2 horizontal photos stacked on top of each other, just like in the sketch. So I really didn't think it through that the spatial alignment would not be the same if I did 2 vertical photos stacked side by side. So that is why I have a gap in the upper right hand corner. So I took like this beautiful craft tag with a butterfly and layered it with mushroom, and then I'm going to layer it with a flower and a label later, and then I've got that beautiful flower, and I tuck that up there, and eventually I'll find like another label, and then I'll play with some of the foam stickers and stick those under. And all the while I'm also like remembering that all those pattern squares are kind of sunken. So anything that overhangs a ton is gonna need a little support, but at the same time, like, I'm just trying to tuck everything where I want it first, and then I'll support it later. But I do kind of do a little bit of that here, and then I have to adjust it and change it, but it's just all so that when you're gluing things down, you know things are adhered and they're gonna stay, and they're not going to sink or get curled or damaged when you put them in a sleeve. Because yeah, all these are going to go into an album eventually, but I don't want them to get damaged when I put them in, or to move where they don't belong, or to curl up or get caught and blah 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 blah. So they need to be supported. So that is what I'm making sure I do as well. You'll see me like grab some foam and tuck them under, and then kind of adjust. I did to peel some foam off after I found the typewriter and tuck that under that upper right corner, which was the perfect little spot for me to then just document the date and where we were. But other than that, there's not a ton I wanted to say about this one, because I'm kicking myself for being so behind in ScrapRoom, because I was not very good at like writing down stories. And even when I have been really good at writing down stories, now it's been 3 years since I've written down some stories. And so I haven't got to document those properly. And I feel bad, because there were so many magical moments as a mom with a young kid that I wish I had more to say about it, but a lot of it ends up just being pretty pages with some adorable photos, which is okay. But sometimes, I get a little mom guilt about that. Like, I'm sure there was a reason. A lot of times, no, there wasn't a reason. I just took photos because I love my child. But I'm sure there was also something more deepful and meaningful that I could say. But at the same time, also, I do have those pages. And then I have these pages too, where it's just memories of being together and having fun. And I think that's okay too. But it's okay to feel guilty about it if you do, like I do sometimes. But at the same time, just remember, like, they're still memories. Even though you don't maybe remember all the details about what happened that day or everything, they're still memories, and you're preserving them as much as you can. So yeah, lots of wet glue. This flower, actually, after I put the foam typewriter under it, I needed to do 2 layers of foam, because the typewriter went over top a little bit of the cardstock that was already popped up, and that is already its own adhesive basically, because it's foam. So 2 layers of foam for that flower head. But yeah, and then I grabbed some black twine and put that in my tag, trying to hold things down so it stays glued. I do not use that star little banner up in the upper left. I end up using these three feathers, and then some of the other foam and puffy stickers, and just creating little clusters. I really like the way that upper right cluster turned out, and like all of them. And then my title piece, which I can't see, but I had that puffy this, and then I realized I really liked the ephemera this better, and then it was a different kind of format, because like discovering is like the white with the black, but then the word this with the puffy was too, and I didn't like that those were two the same, and then place was just a black nice script, so I swapped them out so that the 3 words were all kind of a different format or a different font in a way. I like the way that looks a lot better. And then tucking some of those things in, writing my date and my info, like date and place there on that area. And then I'm going to take the 3 distressed oxides and I'm going to splatter. So I'll take this opportunity to then remind you to check out the ScrapRoom's Facebook group for tons of inspiration, information on the kit, and a lot more challenges, including this sketch challenge. There's also always another challenge, and the color challenge, and the free fast formula, and all these fun things. And you can even win a gift card, or I think a free kit, or is the gift card equivalent to a kit? I don't remember, but you win something. So I've won in the past, like long time ago. I've been a subscriber of the ScrapRoom forever, and the Facebook group has always been a fun place to be. I apologize that I do not post on it more. I just, in general, don't post on social media very much anymore, but it is a fun place to be if you want some of that. And then when Christine goes live, that's always fun too. But then make sure you check out the store and grab your the kit this month if there's any left over. If you have not subscribed, I highly recommend subscribing. This is a really fun kit. So I will have some close-ups for you, and then you can check out what's all in this portion of the Flavors of the Month kit after the close-ups. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out all that goodies, and we'll see you next time. Bye. We have Vicki Boutin Discover and Create. This one's called Brush Strokes, beautiful blue on the back. The second sheet is called Fresh Air. And the third sheet is called Pastime. You're going to get 2 sheets of white cardstock with those beautiful 3 pattern papers. And then you're going to get a mixture of icon and journaling ephemera, which is going to vary per kit, a few foam thickers, which is going to vary per kit, and some puppy thickers, which is going to vary per kit, and then 1 chipboard frame. So those are the foam thickers. And then here I'm showing you all the mixture of icon and journaling ephemera. There's my chipboard frame. And then here's all the mixture of those things. And then I have the foam, or I should say puffy thickers as well, here in a little bit. So I'm spreading everything out so you get a good look. All these will vary, but you will get the same pattern papers and cardstock. So I hope you subscribed and you enjoy. Bye.